I'm talking Elon Musk today. Yeah, that guy. But forget the headlines, the Twitter chaos, the rockets going boom for a second. It's something way more valuable for you. How the hell this man seems to learn anything ridiculously fast. Is it genius? Some weird alien tech? Or just methods we can actually use? We're going to take some of his core ideas, his wisdoms about learning faster and smarter.
If you can make it interactive and engaging, then you can make education far more compelling and far easier to do.
And I'm not just going to list them. Nah, that's boring. I'm going to rank them. We'll see what's genuine gold and what might just be, well, billionaire hot air.
It's an honor to be hosting Saturday Night Live. I mean that.
So the tier list. We need categories, right? 5 levels. Tier 1, Elon Level Genius. This is the absolute top. Transformative stuff. If you do this, expect big shifts. Pure gold. Tier 2, Power Move Potential. Seriously good advice. This stuff works. Implement it and you'll likely see real benefits. Tier 3, Solid Foundation. Good, practical, makes sense. It's the reliable advice that forms a good base. Tier 4, Situational Spark. Okay, this might work for some people, or in very specific situations. Tier 5, probably Hogwash. Yeah, look, maybe it works for Elon because he's Elon, but for the rest of us mortals, probably not useful. Skip. Got it? Let's get ranking. Wisdom number 1. You don't need college to learn stuff. Okay, kicking off with a controversial one. Musk basically says college is overrated for learning.
You don't need college to learn stuff, okay? Everything is available basically for free.
He admits he went, got degrees in economics and physics from Penn, even started a PhD at Stanford for like 2 days. But he feels traditional education is more about memorizing facts than truly understanding or solving problems. He famously said colleges are mainly for fun and to prove you can do your chores, not for actual learning, and that Tesla shouldn't require degrees. Instead, he looks for evidence of exceptional ability. He points to guys like Gates, Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, all dropouts, all did okay, right? He even asks, did Shakespeare even go to college? Probably not. Now let's unpack this. Is he saying college is useless? Not quite. He acknowledges it proves you can stick with something, even annoying tasks. And yeah, the social aspect, hanging out with peers. But for the core skill of learning and applying knowledge, especially in fast-moving fields like tech, he argues it's not the gatekeeper anymore. Information is everywhere, often free. So where does this land on our tier list? This is tough. For someone aiming to be a doctor, a lawyer, professions with strict licensing and established knowledge paths, this advice is probably terrible, right? Don't tell your surgeon you prefer they learned from YouTube tutorials. But for entrepreneurs, for coders, for creatives, for people forging their own paths in industries where practical skill and demonstrated results trump credentials, there's definitely something here. It challenges assumptions, it empowers self-starters, but it's not a universal truth. It carries risk. For that reason, because it's powerful but potentially perilous depending on your path, I'm gonna slide this one into tier 4, Situational Spark. Use your judgment on this one. Wisdom number 2, self-teach aggressively. Books and smart people. This flows from the last point. If not college, then what? Musk's answer is intense self-teaching, but it's a two-pronged attack. First, devour books. I'll get to the sheer volume later, but the key here is how he read when tackling rockets. He didn't just browse. He got textbooks like Rocket Propulsion Elements and Fundamentals of Astrodynamics. Jim Cantrell, the expert Musk cold-called, talk about guts, said Musk basically memorized them and could discuss the topic like a seasoned pro almost immediately. But reading wasn't enough. The second prong, talk to smart people. He didn't just read about rockets. He sought out Cantrell, an expert, and presumably others. He asked questions, tested his understanding, filled the gaps. He famously said his expertise came from a physics background, reading lots of books and talking to lots of smart people. This combination, it's potent. It's not just passive consumption of information. It's active engagement. Deep dive into the theory, books, then pressure test it, refine it, and get practical insights from those who live it, experts. It requires initiative. You gotta find the books. You gotta have the nerve to reach out to busy, smart people. But the method itself, reading deeply and then actively interrogating experts, that's a powerful learning loop. This feels much more universally applicable than the skit college advice. This strategy, The combination of deep study and expert consultation. Yeah, that's got legs. It's proactive. It's effective. I'm putting this firmly in Tier 2, power move potential. Do this, and you will learn faster and deeper. Wisdom number 3, the semantic tree method. Master the trunk first. All right, this might be the secret sauce. Musk calls his core learning method the semantic tree. Imagine knowledge as a tree. What do most people do? They try to memorize the leaves, isolated facts, details, jargon, without understanding the underlying structure. Think about cramming for a history test by just memorizing dates and names. It doesn't stick, right? Because there's no context, no connection. Musk says, forget the leaves initially. Focus on the trunk and the main branches. These are the fundamental principles, the core concepts of a subject. For rocket science, it wasn't about specific valve designs first. It was basic physics, principles of motion, combustion science, material science. Get the big picture. The foundational truths locked down solid. Then and only then do you start adding the finer details, the leaves. Because now, those details have a place to hang. They connect back to the strong branches and the solid trunk. They make sense within the larger framework. Think about learning a new language. The trunk and branches might be the queer grammar rules, sentence structure, basic verb conjugations. The leaves are the huge vocabulary list. If you just memorize words without understanding how sentences are built, trunk, branches, you can't really speak or understand, can you? This approach ensures deep understanding, not just shallow memorization. It makes knowledge robust and interconnected, allowing you to recall and apply it more effectively. It's how he connects ideas across different fields too. This feels fundamental. It's not just a trick. It's a deep insight into how meaningful learning actually happens. This resonates. This feels like the core of accelerated learning. For me, this is absolutely top tier. Tier 1, Elon Level Genius. Build the trunk, then worry about the leaves. Simple, profound, powerful. Wisdom number 4. Read broadly, voraciously, across disciplines. We touched on reading, but let's talk scope. Musk didn't just read about physics and engineering. Growing up, he reportedly read for 10 hours a day. By age 9, he'd apparently finished the entire Encyclopedia Britannica. His brother Kimball said he'd read 2 books a day sometimes. Science fiction, philosophy, biographies, history, anything he could find. The key takeaway isn't necessarily the insane volume, we'll address that next, but the breadth. He didn't stay in one lane. He drew connections between seemingly unrelated fields. His physics knowledge informs his AI work. His economics background helps him scale Tesla. This cross-disciplinary approach is crucial for innovation. Seeing how principles from one field might apply unexpectedly in another, that's where breakthroughs happen. Think about how biology might inspire a new algorithm, or how game theory could inform business strategy. He recommends biographies like Walter Isaacson's on Benjamin Franklin and Albert Einstein. Why? Because they aren't just stories. They're case studies in thinking, problem-solving, leadership, and innovation across different domains. Is reading broadly useful? Absolutely. It prevents siloed thinking. It sparks creativity. It gives you a wider toolkit of mental models to tackle problems. Can you read 10 hours a day? Probably not. But can you make a conscious effort to read outside your immediate field of expertise? Yes. Pick up a book on psychology if you're an engineer. Read about history if you're in marketing. Learn about design principles if you're a writer. The cross-pollination is where the magic lies. This is excellent advice. I'm ranking this as Tier 2 power move potential. Make time to explore beyond your bubble. Wisdom number 5, the insane reading volume. 10 hours a day? Okay, let's tackle the elephant in the room. That reading habit. 10 hours a day as a kid? 2 books a day? Finishing the Encyclopedia Britannica by 9? Is this advice or just a description of a very unusual, possibly obsessive individual? Let's be real. For most adults with jobs, families, lives, reading 10 hours a day isn't feasible. It's probably not even healthy. Is the wisdom here literally read until your eyes bleed? I don't think so. What we can take away is the intensity and dedication. He didn't just casually learn. He immersed himself totally. The underlying principle is extreme curiosity and a relentless drive to absorb information. But replicating the literal volume? That seems unlikely. and perhaps unnecessary for most goals. So how do I rank? Read an absolutely ludicrous amount? As literal advice, it borders on impractical. As an illustration of extreme dedication, it's inspiring, maybe intimidating. Because it's more of an extreme personal trait than a transferable technique for most people, I'm placing this in Tier 4, situational spark. Be inspired by the dedication, yes, but find a reading volume that fuels your goals without sacrificing the rest of your life. Don't turn inspiration into an unrealistic expectation. Wisdom number 6, apply knowledge immediately. Use it or lose it. Reading and understanding are great, but Musk emphasizes that knowledge is only truly useful when you apply it. He didn't just memorize rocket equations, he used them to start designing the Falcon 1. He didn't just study AI concepts, he funneled those insights into Tesla's self-driving tech and Neuralink. Knowledge that just sits in your head is like potential energy. It's there, but it's not doing anything. Applying it turns it into kinetic energy. It makes things happen. It also cements the learning. When you actually use information to build something, solve a problem, or make a decision, you understand it on a much deeper level. The abstract becomes concrete. Think about learning a new coding language. You can read all the documentation, leaves, understand the core concepts, trunk, but until you actually write code, build a small project, debug errors, it doesn't truly sink in. Application forces you to confront the nuances, the edge cases, the practical realities. This principle is vital. Don't let your learning be purely academic. Find ways, even small ones, to put new knowledge into action quickly. Start a side project. Try a new technique at work that day. Explain the concept to someone else, which forces application. This transforms passive learning into active creation. Absolutely crucial. This is a Tier 2, power move potential. Make it real. Wisdom number 7, embrace the struggle. Understanding comes from problem solving. This ties into application. Musk has said, when you struggle with a problem, that's when you truly understand it. It's not about effortlessly absorbing facts. It's about wrestling with challenges. Think about the hardest problems you've ever solved. Didn't you learn more from those struggles than from the easy wins? Hitting a wall, getting frustrated, trying different approaches, failing, trying again. That process forces your brain to engage deeply. It burns the pathways. The aha moment that comes after a real struggle is knowledge earned, not just received. He even uses this in hiring. His famous interview technique involves asking candidates to describe in painstaking detail the toughest problems they've solved. He probes deeper and deeper. Why? Because people who actually solved the problem can go down to the granular level, explaining the dead ends, the reasoning, the breakthroughs. People who were just around when it was solved or are exaggerating their role can't. They lack the deep understanding that only comes from the struggle. This mindset shift, seeing struggle not as failure, but as the path to understanding, is powerful. It builds resilience. It deepens learning. It separates superficial knowledge from true mastery. Don't shy away from hard problems. Seek them out within reason. This is strong advice. Another Tier 2, power move potential. The obstacle is the way, as they say. Wisdom number 8, focus on understanding versus memorization. We've touched on this with the semantic tree and the critique of traditional education, but it deserves its own spot because it's the philosophical bedrock. Musk consistently contrasts understanding with memorizing. Memorization is fragile. It's surface level. You can memorize a formula, but if you don't understand the principles behind it, you can't adapt it, apply it to new situations, or troubleshoot when it doesn't work. Understanding, rooted in fundamental principles, the trunk and branches, is robust. It's flexible. It allows you to reason from the ground up, to connect disparate ideas, to innovate. It's the difference between knowing the name of a tool and knowing how and why to use it effectively. Everything I've discussed, the semantic tree, applying knowledge, struggling with problems, serves this ultimate goal: deep, genuine understanding. It's the why behind the what. When you prioritize understanding, learning becomes slower initially, perhaps more effortful as you build that solid foundation. But the long-term payoff is immense. The knowledge sticks, it grows, it becomes part of how you think. This isn't just a technique, It's the entire goal of effective learning. It's the prerequisite for applying knowledge and solving novel problems. This has to be top tier. It informs everything else. Tier 1, Elon Level Genius. Always ask why. Strive to understand, not just remember. Wisdom number 9, learn from biographies. Study the greats. Musk specifically mentions reading biographies, like those of Benjamin Franklin and Albert Einstein by Walter Isaacson. Why? Because these aren't just historical accounts. They are deep dives into the thinking processes, problem-solving strategies, failures, successes, and leadership styles of highly effective individuals. You get to see how they approached challenges in their respective fields: science, politics, innovation. You learn about their work habits, their philosophies, how they dealt with adversity. It's like having mentors across time. Franklin, the polymath inventor, diplomat, writer, printer. Einstein, revolutionizing physics through thought experiments. Studying their journeys provides patterns, inspiration, and practical lessons. This is an accessible way to gain wisdom. You're learning from curated life experiences. It connects to the read broadly idea but adds a layer of learning about human ingenuity and perseverance. It provides mental models and historical context. Can reading about how Ben Franklin managed his time or how Einstein visualized relativity help you? Quite possibly. It's a classic learning method for a reason. It's valuable. It's relatively easy to implement. This feels like a solid, reliable strategy. Tier 3, solid foundation. Go read about someone impressive. Wisdom number 10, value evidence of exceptional ability over credentials. This echoes the college isn't necessary point, but focuses specifically on evaluation. How Musk judges talent, both in himself, self-taught, and others, hiring. He doesn't care where you learned something or what piece of paper you have. He cares what you can do. Can you demonstrate exceptional skill? Have you built something impressive? Have you solved hard problems? That's the proof. He argues that focusing solely on degrees is absurd. Instead, look for tangible evidence of ability. This could be a portfolio of projects, a history of significant contributions, the ability to articulate complex problem-solving as per his interview technique. He mentions Gates, Ellison, etc., dropping out and achieving great things as evidence that formal credentials aren't the only or even the best measure of capability, especially for disruptive innovation. Again, context matters. In some established fields, credentials are the necessary baseline. But in many areas, especially tech and entrepreneurship, a portfolio of killer projects or demonstrable skills often speaks louder than a diploma. This advice challenges traditional HR practices and empowers individuals to focus on building real skills and proving them through action. It's a meritocratic ideal. Is it fully practical in every corporate structure? Maybe not yet, but as a principle for identifying and nurturing top talent and for guiding your own skill development, it's strong. It pushes towards results over pedigree. I'll place this one in Tier 3, solid foundation. Okay, wow, that's a lot of Muskisms dissected. Seriously, trying to just slap a quick summary on all that, you'd lose way too much valuable detail. The best way to really forge those neural connections, make this stuff stick, is to go back through the bits that resonated. Some truly brilliant insights, some solid basics, and maybe a couple that need a reality check for us non-billionaire rocket designers. Hope that gave you some things to chew on. Maybe even a new technique or two to try. I'll definitely be digging into more stuff like this, breaking down how other high achievers operate. Don't miss out. Subscribe now. Stay tuned. Stay curious.